we've got today is we've got a pair of English hammer guns. So we're going to go off the beaten path a little bit because we've focused a lot on the new Berettas and we've focused a lot on the Brownings, the Winchesters. But my true passion is the English gun trade because it is vast. It is vast, does not cover it basically. So I was asked by somebody in the comments, and if you've got some comments, please keep putting them in the comments below, and a few likes as well, please. Well, I was asked by somebody, history books, what are good history books to read? There isn't generally one specifically better than another, but what you will find with the top makers, you've got Boss & Co, which is what we're going to focus on now. You've got Holland and you've got James Purdey and Son. What somebody has done is they spent their time and they've done the research through the records of the three companies. Now, if you look at the three companies there, Henry Holland, James Purdey and Thomas Boss, they were all apprenticed to Joseph Manton. And they all started their gunmaking career in about 1812, 1815, something like that. About the start of the Napoleonic War, basically. But I'm not trying to be an expert. I'm trying to show people the varied guns that we've got and the varied guns that come in the shop and the stuff that interests us. Now, I've taken these guns out of storage, and hopefully, as the people can see, is that coming out on there, Paul?
Yeah.
Like, you can see how dusty it is.
Yeah, yep.
These guns have been in storage with us for probably the last 20 years of their life, and they've lived in this box, well, for the last 20 years. I've probably only ever got them out once or twice to check the numbers and just to examine the guns. Before we get them out, these are a composed pair. I was just explaining to Paul, a composed pair is two guns that are very similar in overall dimensions, stock dimensions, barrel dimensions. They're quite close on their age of manufacture. And outwardly, they are very similar guns, but a composed pair means two guns that were put together. A true pair went down the production line as number one, as number two, and they have lived their lives together. There is some variation on that theme in the fact that, as I was just explaining to Paul, you can Boss, especially because the guns were very, very expensive, you would have a single gun made, you was impressed with a gun, you went back to Boss 2, 3, sometimes 5 years later, and you had a sibling made for that gun, and it was made for that gun. Now, this, is that book coming out?
Yeah, we've got that, yep.
So this book is invaluable to your Boss collector. Now, one of the things that you should know about Thomas Boss & Co, is they have only ever made what is called best guns. They do not lower their quality level to meet your price point. If you can't afford their guns, you therefore can't buy their guns. Other manufacturers, Holland, you've had different grades, and in the 1880s, 1890s, 1910, something like that, Purdey had A grades, B grades, C grades, D grades, E grades. Now, we're not here to give an absolute rundown of the English gun trade, we're here to show two guns in a box. Now, if you'd like to bring the box over here, Paul, the camera over here, and we will just show, I won't rub it too hard. So, this Blanche, if I spin it round actually, Thomas Bland and Sons. Now, this is very nice because this is a period trade label. It's not a trade label, this is a worksheet basically. So these guns, or I will carry on to say, at some point these guns have gone into Bland and Sons for service, maybe for sale, something like that. Interesting note, Bland was one of, if not the last English gunmaker in London with his own shop that wasn't one of the top three, Holland and Holland, Boss or Purdey. They were, again, as I say, they were a privateer. And here, Paul, you've got GWR, Great Western Railway, and the fact that this gun would have gone down to the West Country, it may well have gone to Scotland, or the box.
Yeah.
So let's just show a few people, Paul, before we open the box. We've got an original handle here.
Yep.
Now, what you will find with these older cases is they start to break on the edges here. Okay, they break because they're old, and they break because people don't care for them the way they should. But this is nice because it's got its original label, and it's nice because it's got its original straps. All right. Now, Paul, just bring the camera up to me.
Yep.
Whenever you're carrying an English gun case, you never carry it by the handle. Okay, you always carry it like this, Paul.
Yep.
See how I've got that?
Yep.
Now, there will be some people out there that disagree with me. I am telling you the right way to do it, okay? You do not carry it by the handle. That handle is 140 odd years old. Give it a little bit of respect, all right? Give it a little bit of respect. So, let's open the box up, and I'll point a few things out to you, Paul.
Yeah.
So as I say, we're moving off the beaten track. I was taught by my father that we as gun dealers need to be like GPs in a doctor's surgery. We need to know a little bit about everything. You can specialise in rifles, you can specialise in English guns, you can specialise in whatever you like, air rifles. My advice, learn a little bit about everything, alright? Now, what's nice about this one, Paul, if you go in at the trade label,
Yep.
it doesn't say Thomas Boss.
No.
That will say James Woodward or Woodward.
That's it, yep.
James Woodward and Son. And I believe, are they at 73 St James's Street, London?
Where do we see? Oh,
64. 64. So they're at 64, and I believe Thomas Boss, when we have a look on the rib, they were at 63 St James's Street, something like that. So, again, we're going to talk a little bit about the box, Paul, because the box is quite unusual as well.
Yeah.
So this is a 2-tier travelling case, basically. Most people, when they're looking for English guns, are looking for the guns laid out like this in a double leather case. We may move on to that in later videos. A 2-tier travel case. Some people would call it a 2-tier motor case. It isn't a motor case because it's too heavy. A motor case would be ever so slightly smaller. The dimensions would be slightly slimmer, but this is a travel case, and it's a best oak and leather case as well, Paul. And the way we can tell that is because we've got very thick leather on the, very thick oak on the edges here.
Yep.
Okay. That also would have been something with a motor case. It would have been a little bit thinner, and the leather would have wrapped over the top.
Yeah.
Okay. Please, everybody, believe me. I'm not trying to be an expert. I'm just trying to show the different guns, the stuff that interests us. Now, this is quite nice, Paul. This is, again, a little worksheet that when the gun came into us, or the box came into us, this was falling off. And if you look, we've got James Purdey,
yeah,
and we've got Audley House, and we've got 2nd of the 2nd, 1949.
There it is.
So the fact that that's still there after 70 odd years, it's more than that, isn't it? 80 odd years is extraordinary, basically. So we'll just pop that back in there. And again, Paul, what you're looking for is you're looking for the tops, the lids to the boxes. Quite often these are missing. You're looking for the lids.
Right. Yep.
Okay, so we're looking for the lids. Also, what you're looking for, Paul, is you're looking for accessories. Very few English guns in their original boxes will have their original tools. Unfortunately, gunsmiths along the way take them out and use them. And through the passage of time, they get lost, okay? We won't say any more than that, but they get lost, okay? And they find their way onto eBay. All right, so we've got some nice period, I'll say they're period, they're probably 1960s, those Ely Grand Prix, which say Grand Prix, but they actually mean Grand Prize at the Great Exhibition of 1864 or something like that. So, I will get the guns out the boxes, Paul, and I will show you, but just while they're in the boxes, I will show you some of the things that make them a composed pair. So what we've got is we've got Damascus barrels on both guns.
Yep.
Original. Guns of this period, not quite often, but you do run into them more often than not, have been sleeved. We may move on to sleeving in later videos, but this is just to show you what we've got. So we've got Damascus barrels on both guns. We've got back action locks on both guns.
Yep.
Okay, so again, we'll start to show you some bar steel actions, but these are back action locks that are swept back. Both guns have got them. You've got Jones's underlevers on both guns. Can you see this one in here?
Yep.
Jones's underlevers on both guns. You've got half-cock hammers on both guns, and I will show you what half-cock means in a moment. We've got our original stocks on both guns. We've got our heel plates on both guns. Okay, original steel heel plates. Steel heel plates, Paul, were carried on from muzzle loaders.
Yep.
Anybody that watches this video that knows about muzzle loaders will know why you've got steel heel plates on muzzle loaders. I won't try to bombard people with too much knowledge in one go. Also, what we got, Paul, we've got a few reloading tools in there. I think that one is a powder measure. Yeah, so we've got marked on the side there, 1 ounce a shot, 2 ounce a shot, drams of powder, and that will be for a muzzle loader, that one. Also, what we've got here, Paul, is we've got 2 Boss snap caps that aren't period. Now, how do I know they're not period? Partly because the man bought them out the Boss shop and gave them to me to put in this box, but the quality isn't quite what an older one would be. So let me get one of the guns out. So, with this blasting dam, I was going to put that top tier back in there. With this box, Paul, this manufacturer, James Woodward, no longer produces guns. They are owned by Purdey. The records are owned by Purdey, and the reason Purdey purchased them is for their over and under design. Now, if anybody, you put that down, mate, and I'll sit here and we'll just put these together slowly. Now, Purdey purchased Woodward for their over and under design. There is a few English over and under designs of shotgun. There's only really 2 that are worth talking about. One is the Woodward, one is the Boss. The Boss came to the market in about 1909, I believe it was. Read the book and it will tell you. 1909. The Woodward came to the market in about 1913, I believe. There is less Woodwards because in 1914 a lot of the younger echelons that were buying the guns went to the First World War and a lot of them didn't come back. Now, as I said, Boss is a top tier maker. They do not lower their quality for anybody. Now, one more thing, don't forget the Jones's underlever, Tim. Don't forget the Jones's underlever. One more thing that I will show you, and I did show somebody earlier on today, you never, not even with the cheapest Bakel hammer gun that you will find, you never place the gun down on the ears of the hammers like this. You never. Cardinal sin. Utter cardinal sin. You always place the guns down on their side. Okay? Do you want to bring the camera back over here, Paul? And we will start showing, again, a few more things that make them a composed pair. So, to all intensive purposes, if somebody was watching Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, they would say these were a pair. They are similar. If we look at the engraving patterns, Paul, and as you can tell, it's the engraving that I like, because it was done by an artist. They weren't even considered artists at the time. They were just people that could put engraving on the side of guns. They were almost frowned upon in the gun trade, engravers, because what the gun manufacturers or the gun makers would say is, if we didn't make the gun, you wouldn't be able to do the engraving. Nowadays, the engraver is the artist and the gun maker is the nobody, but that's by and by. So the engraving patterns are similar, Paul.
Yep.
But you can see, and I'm not trying to knock them together because these are storage guns. The engraving patterns are similar, but this gun, which is the later gun, the engraving is more profuse. There's more of it. It's a tighter knit scroll. Also, can you see here? There's no engraving.
Yep.
And here, this is a shell. This is trying to denote. Can you see what I'm?
Yep.
It's trying to denote a shell, Paul, basically. Now, if I roll the guns over like this, and I'll put them up like that, you will see that we've got a very long top tang on this. Now, because the English guns have not got a stop bolt through them, there is only 2 or 3 screws that hold this stock to this action. This is your top tang screw that will go down here to your bottom tang.
Yep.
And you take these 2 screws out, and then you've got a back tang screw that will go from here up to here. All right.
Yep.
Also, you will have, and you'll notice I'm not putting that gun down on its hammers. You've got a front tang screw here that will hold the front of the tang to the action. All right. Paul, I'm not a gunsmith. I'm not trying to be an expert. I'm just trying to show people. So we've got here a shell again, Paul.
Yep.
Also, we've got a crossbolt design on this one. Okay. This again is carried over from muzzle loaders, Paul.
Yep.
Later on down the line, we get push button fore ends, which are up here, and we get Anson and Daly release catch, which 99% of all over and unders have got nowadays. That was invented in Birmingham, 1897, something like that. Again, do the research, you'll find it out. Now, one of the other things, Paul, and if we can show the people, when you start really getting into it, you will start to see that the Damascus patterns vary, because they were hand done, they were hand forged by barrel makers. Now, nowadays, when you get a man that says, I'm a barrel maker, he puts a billet of steel into a CNC machine. It's not, it's a long boring machine, basically. They bore the tubes out, but these were actually forged from ribbons of steel and iron wrapped together. And what you can see is the iron and the steel reacting differently.
Is it?
So what you'll see is the iron and the steel reacting differently, basically. Now, forget all of that. Can you see, Paul, that the swells, and I've chucked my pen away somewhere. What have I got here? Oh, I've got a screwdriver, for want of a better word. The swell, so we'll say these stars here, Paul.
Yep.
Okay, these stars are smaller diameter.
Yep.
than if we come over to this here. Now, one is called 3-iron Damascus, one is called 6-iron Damascus, one is called 9-iron Damascus, one is called Stubbs Twist, one is called Feather Damascus. That is just, Paul, as I keep saying, a jumping off point for people to do their own research on. What I will tell people is, the finer the Damascus, where this is,
Yep.
these were made in Belgium. The coarser the Damascus, these were made in London. All right? How do I know that? Again, do the research, find out yourself, make your own mind up. I'm only giving you a jumping off point. Can you see how, Paul, I believe this gun that's closest to me here,
Yep.
I believe this gun is 1864. I'm not 100% on it, but I believe the last time I looked it up in the book here, which was about 10 years ago, was 1864. And then this gun is an 1876 gun. So we're talking about a 12-year difference in the manufacturing date.
Yep.
Well, as the engraving started to become more popular, we will see that we've gone from a broader style engraving to a finer style engraving.
Yep.
It's of the same pattern, but there's just more of it. Now, I am missing so much off of these guns, Paul. Let me roll these. Can you see also, I know they're up the wrong way, does that say Boss & Co, 73 St James's Street, London?
Yeah, 73 or 70?
Should be 73. Right? What's this one say?
This one. No, I can't even. That's quite funny. I can't read that with a light.
1873. They're both 1873. They're a little bit indistinct, Paul, because what's happened over the years is they've been rebrowned and polished and polished and polished. Now, I'll roll these down here. Focus, Paul, on the hammers for me.
Yep. Both together?
Now we look at this one. Can you see that on the side up here, there's eyes on it? They're actually trying to denote a serpent or a dragon. Some people call them hare's ears, or dolphin head hammers is the word I was looking for. So if we roll this one over, Paul, you will see that you've got your eyes, your ears. So some of them look like dolphins, some of them look like hares, like a rabbit hair. Again, most people, Paul, wouldn't see it.
No.
And it's generally on the higher end guns. Not always on the higher end ones, but it's generally on the higher end ones that they do it. Now, just a brief history from this book, Paul. And if you just keep showing the people, I'll
we'll
keep
get some
talking.
close-ups. Just
a brief history. Boss & Co have been going, as I say, since about 1812, which is 206, 7 years, something like that. Boss have manufactured in those 200 and a few years just over 10,000 guns. I believe they're getting up to about 10,500, 10,700, something like that. If you take out the muzzle loaders and the muzzle loading pistols that they made, these two guns, Paul, are what's called Jones's underlevers. They're one of the strongest designs of hammer gun that you can get. Basically, you've got a cam system inside here that on the bottom of the barrel lumps, the cam system grabs hold and tightens up, all right?
Yep.
This action on a Boss is by far the most common. So with the book, it will tell you that Boss have manufactured, I believe, something like 1,500 of these in Jones's underlever.
Yep.
They do them in 10, they do them in 12, they do them in 16, they do them in 20. I've not seen any of the smaller bores, I've not seen any of the bigger bores, but if you take out of those, Paul, your 10s, your 20s, your 12s, the breakdown of what they made isn't a lot. Now, they also make They also make what's called a Purdey thumb hole design, which I have got one, and we may move on to that in a later video. Of the Purdey thumb hole design, second patent, they made 117, and in the side lever design, they made 283, and in a top lever, because most people are looking for top levers, that is a lovely image on that one, mate.
Yeah, try and get in there. It's the Boss & Co bit.
Bearing in mind, Paul, that was done by a man who was just pleased he had something to do. They were really hand to mouth with these guns. So Boss is one of the rarest manufacturers in the world, Paul. There is stuff out there that is much, much higher up the scale than this, but there isn't anything that betters this. These guns, Boss & Co, are world class. We're in a different league with these things, Paul. These are out and out, high end. You would have had to have been somebody very, very special to have walked in and bought these guns when they were new. Somebody could do the research on them if they wanted to. They could contact Boss. I'm not too interested in who the gun was made for. I'm not too interested where it's lived its life. It's the condition I'm looking for, Paul. And if you think these guns are almost 150 years old, they are in impeccable condition.
Yep.
They haven't been recheckered. They have been rebrowned at some point in their life. They're time capsules, all right? Now, this is just a short video, Paul, to tell people what we do, what we get up to. If you'd like to talk to me about something English, something Japanese, something Spanish, give me a buzz. Talk to me. If you want to talk something new, pheasant shooting, give me a buzz. These are videos to try and converse with like-minded people, basically. So I have missed off of there, Paul, so much. Now, proofing, these two guns are nitro-proofed for smokeless powders. I'm not going to go into how and why, because that isn't a conversation for a video. That's a conversation to be had in the store while you're standing with us, while we can show you what's what. So yeah, just another little video to show people what we do, what we get up to.